As Nigerians across the country committed to democracy in 1999, the choice of who leads the country was as important as having capable leaders who will build this new democracy. An opportunity for men and women to step forward to share their aspirations. Many politicians attempted to answer the question on why they should be voted for, and for the women who dared to run, the answer many times was a question. Why should we vote for a woman? Women make up about half of Nigeria's population and contribute greatly to the socio-economic development of the nation. However, they have remained grossly underrepresented in formal political structures and governance spaces. Since Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999, women in elective political positions have never exceeded 10%. Despite this political marginalization, more women have thrown their hearts in the political ring to seek office. Nigeria's population is projected at 193 million, out of which women constitute 49%. Still, women represent less than 10% of those in elective positions in the country. The Ready to Run campaign, born out of the Not Too Young to Run movement, is Nigeria's first repository on young candidates. The platform had 1,115 young aspirants indicating their interest in participating in the 2019 general election. Among the registered aspirants on the Ready to Run platform, 212 women battled to secure political party nomination, with various party nomination forms only available at exorbitant prices. While some political parties gave the forms free, a few gave concession, but the positions were not available for women because many party structures indirectly put women aspirants at a disadvantage. For the young women who succeeded past the cost of nomination forms, the party orders and then eventually emerging as the candidates of their party. For the young women who succeeded past the cost of nomination forms, the party orders and then eventually emerging as the candidate of the party, running a campaign revealed the shocking realities of our flawed political system, especially skewed to work against women candidacy.
At some point, there was a negotiation for my candidacy where the structures that were coming were lobbying for my ticket to be taken from me.
So the first question, this is a two-part, right? Is in one word, describe your experience.
One word, exhilarating for me. I think I was, first of all, at a point when I decided to run, I was a broadcast journalist and I was always on the side of the fence, interviewing people, doing investigative journalism, addressing issues, calling names, shaming people, the politicians, you know. So for me, at the point, was a case of the promise and the reality.
What I would describe as my experience would be shock.
Shock.
Yes, I'm there to come out from the show. I go from that experience. Seriously. Each time I sleep, I was seeing everything. How they are sharing rice, drinks, chicken, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, and how they are sharing PVCs to people. And how one person is voting more than 10 times. Seriously, it was a big shock to me.
One word for me is adventure, because it was an adventure for me. I experienced things differently. I saw new things that I didn't know even existed before. And for me, I enjoyed every process, because what I told myself from the very beginning is that it is not by force to serve. You know, when you have a house serve in the house, they kind of drag. If you talk to them anyhow, they just walk away, because it's a difficult job, and that's what leadership is. So I came, and with everything I had, I told myself something. I want charity, I do foundations, I have compassion. I'm going to tag my campaign along my passions, and that was what I did because I refused to give some hungry old men money. I said I will spend this money on those that really need it, the women, the less privileged, the children. And even if I don't get a vote, even if I don't win, I'm happy that I actually did my passion.
My experience was wonderful. The campaign part was very interesting. I learned so much. I got quite an education. Then elections happened and everything was like a movie.
My one word is historic.
The biggest one will be betrayal and a lot of manipulation. But the three words was betrayal. I was betrayed by family. I was betrayed by INEC. I was betrayed by security. I was betrayed by the paramount rulers. And, starting from family, my family happens to be the ruling in politics. They've been in politics, so you say they are part of the originator in that area. And when you tell them, you say you're coming out, they were the first set of people that said, you can't come out.
Sexual harassment, a monster hardly discussed as a political issue, but which has consistently been deployed to limit and frustrate women candidacy. Finding women to run for elective position is still difficult, despite the fact that half the Nigerian population is made up of women, as much as 99 million. In the 2019 elections, only 2,970 women did run for elective office, with only 67 winning. This sadly means female representation impact in the Nigerian polity is limited to 2.3% of all women who attempted to reach for elective office out of the 2,970. With results available so far, the Ninth Assembly will have only 19 women out of the 469 lawmakers, while the State House of Assembly, with 940 members, has only 44 women. These poor numbers are as a result of the absence of an enabling environment. It is arguable that the rule of the thumb to choose our leaders is influenced by primordial thinking and feeling, oftentimes towards women by voters, political parties, oppositions, and other political stakeholders as many times. The question is, why vote for a woman?
My immediate family supported me beautifully well. But there were certain places that I went to that they just didn't agree that a woman should be there. They didn't agree at all, and they were saying it openly. Shana, you go lead me. No way. So these were things that I was wondering, okay. Some agreed that, oh, wonderful, if you get to the office, do you have a boyfriend? Oh, okay. When you get to don't worry, take my number. When you get into office, maybe they will now be the ones to be the boyfriend so that they can, we chop it together, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so for some other people too, they were so amazed that the young person, especially in the marketplaces, they were like, this is my daughter now. For her to be able to run, then I should support her. Although they had this ideology that, they had already programmed their mind that when they get to the ballot, they press, and the idea is the ruling party, they have to go and press. So there were a lot of convincing, but that acceptance, especially in the marketplace, those rural areas, was beautiful. I loved it, and I'm really grateful to them for all the support. Yes.
Some accept me as a woman, but some they didn't accept due to my religion and my tradition. So in my culture and my religion, they don't allow women to rule. The only thing we know is marriage and be in the house, housewife. That is what they know.
Okay, I would say that it was interesting. It was interesting because we are still, as a nation, developing, and there are still the powers that be are still very much in charge. The people that want Nigeria to be better are not even up to 15% of those that are in power. They don't want this country to be better. They just want the country to remain the way it is so they can have their way. And that is why they deprive the masses of education. If the masses are educated, I'm sure they'll be able to realize that they don't need to sell their votes. But you find out that I spent 2 years, went about advocating. But the reality is that there are people are so hungry. In the areas, I did a lot of advocacy for about 2 years, and it worked for me because in the areas where people were a bit okay, the average income earners, those that are a bit comfortable, I didn't have any issues there. It was in the very poor areas where 2,000, 1,000 mattered a lot on the day of the election. And I keep saying this thing, if I go ahead and buy the votes just like every other person, then I'm just going to be like every other politician. When you get there, there's nothing you can do. What you do is pay back the money you have spent, the money you have borrowed, the money godfathers have given to you. And the masses will still complain that, what are you doing, that you're not doing anything, not realizing that you have paid them upfront.
And for a woman with disability, it is a mixture of a conquest and unending challenges. Lois shares her story here.
I decided to run for office in April 2018 because for too long, young people, persons with disabilities, and women have been sidelined from development agenda. They have been excluded, discriminated, and underrepresented in government policies and programs. And this moved me to run for office, to be able to advocate for the inclusion of these groups I mentioned, to enable me run on a bigger platform, since I've been doing it through the NGO I set up in 2011 called Cedar Seed Foundation. I wanted a bigger platform where I could formulate policies with my honorable colleagues when I get to the National Assembly, particularly the Green Chamber. Yeah, out of 4,680 that Yiaga came up with, the people that ran for offices in the House of Representatives, there were 569 women set by Women Trust Fund, and I was the only and the first woman with disability that ran for House of Representatives in the just concluded elections.
The 2019 elections was fraught with controversies from the pre-election phase, when young candidates were intentionally excluded by the major political parties. The Nigerian political terrain remains competitive, stifled against the emergence of women as winners of election. In Nigeria today, the choice of a candidate, especially of a woman, is often subjected to social profile and request for a private service.
You know, there was a post I made one time. I came into politics without a godfather, without a sponsor, and under a platform that I had to get the structure all by myself. So it's not like as if I came into an existing structure. I actually started from the scratch to build everything. So, but I knew I went around meeting stakeholders, and I had this greatest challenge. Like, I met the traditional rulers. Yes, I met the youth leaders, then party leader, irrespective of the party where I went to meet a lot of party. But I had a lot of things they said. One, you didn't tell us on time your contest, especially the traditional rulers. Like, you didn't tell us on time of your intentions. So we have made our choice, and there are these people that are political strongholds. Actually, I had one from my place, and he was like, at this point of your life, that was his exact word, said, at this point of your life, you shouldn't be contesting. You should be doing boy in his language. You should be carrying handbags for politicians. And I'm like, at my age, I'm a graduate for crying out loud. So why should I be, at this point of my life, be carrying handbags for people that are content? They have two heads. And he was like, Phoebe, go and sit down. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your resources. Don't waste your time. And I was like, well, you're not my girl. I'm still going to go to contest. Whatever the outcome, let it be. Do you understand? So I did. I met a lot of people. Everybody that I needed to see. I went with drinks, with my poster, these are my intention. I went with my group, these are my intention. So every, be it religions, traditional rulers, youth leaders, political leaders, I went everywhere in my course of consultations.
Some of them will tell you, hey, why didn't you come to tell us on time? And coming to tell them on time is for them to tell you, please don't contest. So they would be like, how dare you, this small girl. One of the person made comment that in politics, you first of all serve somebody. After serving, then you will now be compensated. So it's not election they do, it's actually people's future. They compensate people with the powers that be determines who goes. You know, we in Zamfara, we have problem. There is poverty. So no matter how they give you 100%, at the end of the day, they will disappoint you with vote buying. I have that problem. The major problem in my campaign is that vote buying. If not because of vote buying, I know I will make it. So when I start campaigning, the women, the youth, they were happy. I will vote for this woman. I will vote for this lady. I will go for her because we need, at least we need a woman in the house. Say true. But at the end of the day, they use vote buying to deceive them.
I am not satisfied with the outcome of the elections because talking more about the challenges, we discovered that we have a long way to go when it comes to vote buying in our Nigeria politics today. And it's always a case of the higher bidder getting to win the vote of the people. So all the persons you see them singing your praise, volunteering their work, which actually they did with or without money. So it was as if we're singing your praise when we are not faced with the reality. So you discover that beginning from after we've done a whole lot of agent training and you're so cool that everybody is standing right behind you. A day before election and the day of election, you see people not setting their priorities right. Because if their priorities were actually set right, they will know that the few change money they are getting that point in time is not able to run for the period of 4 years. So a lot of them sold their conscience, and thereby you see people that would have normally supported you voting for other parties just because of the peanuts that they have to offer them.
Okay, well, my perception about the election was I knew that the power is the masses. I knew their electoral brigging or malpractices, but I didn't expect it to this extent because I ran against the parties in power. It was just between me and them. We had other candidates, but at the end of this, one thing happened. They didn't get to the poll. It was just myself and them. So that was it. The rigging was, I didn't expect that rigging to be that much, but I didn't expect, it was a shock to me. I mean, I'm too young to experience such terror. I mean, I'm not anywhere they are equal. I'm not even in their major two political powers. I'm of a third party option, third force. So I didn't expect such terror would be unleashed on me. So that's my expectation and my worst realities. They use money and a rapper. They use money and rapper. They, like tomorrow to the election, they will share money. They will go in house to house. They will go house to house and give money and the rapper. That is what they use. Okay, my election was actually marred by electoral violence, ranging from brigging, there were vote buying, voters' cards were imported from God knows where, and my voters were intimidated. I mean, my agents were intimidated. There was one, they were rigging the election, so he tried to have the video evidence. They beat the guy up, handed him over to the police. The guy stayed 2 days under detention. They seized his phone and his bike. And then secondly was another of my agents, so the same thing, the vote buying, he wanted to have the video, they beat him up again. They almost kidnapped him, but they didn't, beat him up and took him away from the environment. So that was, and there was also manual double thumbprinting. You know, the election was marked by irregularities, and that was it.
And for those who made it to the polls, The many surprises included watching their posters turned down, betrayed by their loved ones and women leaders, denied access to results, and restriction by security agents. Others complained that they were trailed by political thugs, and their campaign from house to house was described as a futile effort.
Well, talking of experience, the experience I gained from this political race is experience that even university can't give you the degree, because most of what we learned from the university is what we just they will teach us in class and write. But this, I went into the process and everything was done. I did all the processes.
Many of the women who dare to run for office say the lessons learned, including balancing the trials of family demands and campaigning.
Felt at some point, I wouldn't say I was disappointed by my lineage. I would say we just weren't doing what we're supposed to be doing.
The support I got is from my husband only. In my constituency, I did not find that they were happy. They even want it, because my village boards, I did this hand bill. They were happy. They used to come, give me your hand bill, I can pay for you. Some people can pay for me free. They will go to house. There is some group of people, both men and women, they made group. So they used to come and collect that hand bill.
Others describe a situation where voters forgot their long-standing sacrifice and advocacy due to vote buying.
A lot of them came behind me, rallied around me, and like, okay, you're a young woman, let's give her a trial. But then at the end of the day, I couldn't sustain it, because when it got to a point of give us money, I didn't have such money to give to them. So a lot of them just diverted.
Well, what I expected was that people will vote for credibility, but it turned out that they vote for money. I think we'll take a whole day, we'll take hours talking about these experiences, because it's something that is a journey that we did it in a different angle. So now, if we are to look at the way the election goes, when I was campaigning, I found that when I met people and I talked to them, I tell them my manifesto, they understand and they are happy to vote. They said, yes, this is what we want. We vote for this lady. But on election day, because I had no money to give to them, they voted for another person.
The major problem in my campaign is that vote buying. If not because of vote buying, I know I will make it.
Especially the market women, they have this idea that they're pressing their finger for just one party. That's the only party that exists, and it goes in exchange for money. So there's a lot of orientation that's going to go for a number of, but it wouldn't stop me.
The reality is that there are people are so hungry. In the areas, I did a lot of advocacy for about 2 years, and it worked for me, because in the areas where people were a bit okay, the average income earners, those that are a bit comfortable, I didn't have any issues there. It was in the very poor areas where 2,000, 1,000 mattered a lot on the day of the election. And I keep saying this thing, if I go ahead and buy the vote just like every other person, then I'm just going to be like every other politician.
I've done the work, I had acceptance, but just that money they are giving, the buying they were doing on the day of election. But the electoral bill is signed and there's nobody to negotiate any money to give you, I know I win my election.
It is difficult to find a balance to understand people who supported and those who betrayed at the polls.
On election day, she was with me when I was running for councillorship. She campaigned for me and everything. When I ran for this State House of Assembly, she was with me. She's my woman leader, because I have 2 women leaders. I have women leader, I have women mobilizer. She was conversing for another person, another party on election day. Conversing for another party. And I don't even know until I went to the poll to cast my vote. I found out that she was campaigning for another party.
The protection of women was vital in the 2019 election, so some devised strategies to be safe amidst difficult security situation before, during, and after elections.
You know how Kaduna South, you know how we have a lot of complications in Kaduna State.
The late night meeting, solicited by godfathers for sexual advancement as a criteria for political support, was also disheartening.
I didn't get any mentorship. I tried reaching out to certain people who could mentor me.
They believe women have the information, intellect, strength, zeal, and numbers to partner for the much needed progress in getting women positioned to succeed. Here's a little bit into the campaign strategy devised by some of them.
So that name made me popular. The name made me popular. Even in my jungle I did in Gusau FM, they were that one Marayu. That name made me popular.
I go on live videos, talk about my challenges, talk about what's happening, why I need money to do certain things, is it skill acquisition? So I got a lot of them support me. Some I've never seen till today, but I still talk to. So those were my team members. Yes. So those were people I actually got support from.
It was interesting. It was interesting because we are still, as a nation, developing, and there are still the powers that be are still very much in charge. The people that want Nigeria to be better are not even up to 15% of those that are in power. They don't want this country to be better. They just want the country to remain the way it is so they can have their way. And that is why they deprive the masses of education. If the masses are educated, I'm sure they'll be able to realize that they don't need to sell their votes.
For some others, the election of 2019 left them with a personal story, a memorable one, due to electoral violence and malpractice.
My agent were intimidated. There was one, they were rigging the election, so he tried to have the video evidence. They beat the guy up, handed him over to the police. The guy stayed 2 days under detention. They seized his phone and his bike. Another thing that happened is that none of my agents signed the results. But on the contrary, the parties in power, they had their agents sign on our behalf. There were places where my voters would vote. When they would be counting the votes, they would count what they like, and the voters were like, we voted for her, we're right here, we saw her result. They said that's what they cared to know. Okay, so another thing is that they didn't give result sheets to my agents, to party agents. Yeah, they said there were no result sheets. It was at the World Collation Center, from there to document.
The result was supposed to be announced around 3 a.m., but they didn't announce till around 1 p.m. There are some places when they count, they'll say 0-0, and we have the result with us. You know, I don't even know my result for now, but I know I came third. I didn't collect and I didn't sign. I didn't sign at INEC. I wrote a petition against INEC official. When I took it to the DPO of my constituency, he just looked at it and they just put it aside. They didn't work towards it because I told them, this is what I saw, see the irregularities I saw. Some small children with sharp knife, with everything, give me money, give me money. Anywhere I go, they'll tell you, give us our money. If I didn't give them, they break my glass. I have all the videos.
I realized that there was a big gap, a huge gap between the leadership and the led at the rural level. That the communities were far apart from the narratives being played at the center and at the rural level. That the bills being made did not have any recourse to ownership to those people living in the rural areas.
Having a popular flag bearer can give you access and precious endorsement, but getting public endorsement for a woman running for office was an impracticable move by some politicians.
And there was a lot of stereotype for women. There was a lot of bias, there was a lot of stigma. And I come from a very patriarchal state. There was a high level of masculinity, and there was no endorsement at even the majority party level for women to emerge. It was still a tug of war.
Also, many agreed that political structure within smaller political parties can make a difference.
A national alliance at that time was very minute in the eyes of other political party negotiators. They felt they had no structure, they felt they had no money, they felt they had no national presence. And I said, well, I have done a bit of branding, especially being in the media. Perhaps I can bring that to the party.
perhaps I can help build the structure. And perhaps if I engage appropriately, I would also be able to influence the leadership in the party. And so when I joined, the first thing I did was go back home and set up a party office in my constituency, and was able to initiate the selection of leaders who were also under the administration of the party at that level. At the national level, I was also able to influence the thoughts of the leader. I was the executive brand and publicity secretary of the party. And so the branding of the party was in my palms. And what I did was to be able to engage across board with the local media in the state and began to brand the publicity for the party.
Having a family member as a running mate can also serve as the weakest link in politics.
For instance, when I was supposed to say, you know what, I think there's family involved, I would rather say, okay, let my uncle come and take the position. But then I'm also looking at, wait a minute, if you were a movement and you also looked at the issues that the Not Too Young to Run presented, if you were going to be the story, then you're going to live it. And you're going to make sure that you do so not for yourself, but for the millions of young people who have watched you advocate for this.
So I stuck to my party. Being that I also ran against my uncle who was in the PDP, made them also feel like you can't be running against your uncle in the same place. But we had different ideologies.
A new trend is the courage for a candidate to run outside the purview of their indigenship.
The unique thing about my own case is that I'm an Ijaw lady running for the State House in Lagos State, and it's the first time an Ijaw lady will be running.
No, I didn't run from my state of origin. That was a very big challenge, and that was a very big bold step I took. I ran in FCT. I am not an indige of Gwage. I was the first female and the young female that ran for FCT Senate. Okay, and I had a lot of challenges. I had a lot of disadvantages because I ran for a constituency I was not born into.
During my consultations, some people asked me, why did you decide to run in Abuja when you could go to your state of indigene and run? And I told them, I'm here to see the growth and development of Amak and Buhari federal constituency. I want to see the things I want to see. Seeing them enjoying clean water, sound education, good roads, and healthcare services should be delivered to them as citizens of this country.
Understanding what to do next through a court tribunal process can make a difference.
Then when I wanted to approach a lawyer, I was paid 2 million for a start. I don't have that kind of money, having spent so much during the campaign. There was a voice record of my campaign DG telling them what happened, that the election was marked by irregularities, the election should be cancelled. So after that, I still wrote officially the INEC chairman, telling him I listed out my points, why the election, the said winner was not the winner. But he ignored me, went ahead, did press conference, and declared the election that I wrote to that it wasn't fair and fair. He declared it free and fair.
I decided to push it further to the tribunal. I started the process, went ahead, but I had to pull back at some point where I was advised otherwise. So I had to pull back at some point.
For many of the women, they have chosen to run again. They believe in victory. Victory in sight. The victory of a woman leading a state and our country.
How the votes, and even my opponents and INEC, they know what they did. They know what they did, and that was why I got a rerun in the first place. And after that, you know, at that point where there was a rerun, I just knew that okay, I've won. For me, that rerun was a declaration of my winning, because if you did not win, they wouldn't declare the rerun. They knew that they couldn't just go ahead and rig it out outrightly. They had to just like take some time to cool off the nerves of people and all that. And I did not bother because I was the only one that had a weave on in the 40 assembly that ran in Lagos State.
I'm using this opportunity to go back for the governorship election that is coming up this November. We've never had a female governor. We've never had a female deputy. But I'm going to run for the primaries. I've been in PDP since I turned 18, and I believe I've served the party enough. I've paid my dues, and I should be able to run for the office of the governorship.
Honestly speaking, with what happened in previous election, if nothing is done about Electoral Act, sorry, but it's the truth. What happened will still happen.
Because of the rush for 2019, there was not enough orientation to go around. So for me, I'm going to start by orientating people.
Of course, yes, I will definitely, by God's grace, with my life, I'll run for 2023. And that 2023, my winning is sure. Why? Because I've already gained the experience I have now, and I've already started my work early because I started late the other time. I started 1 year to the day of election, but now I started on the 10th of March, which is a day after election.
My plan in 2023 is I want to start going close to them, awareing them, understand? Awareing them about the vote buying. And now what I'm doing for now with them, if there is any occasion, any naming ceremony, I used to tell them they should call me and they should tell me. Then I used to go and make my campaign.
Not if I want, I will run for 2023. And what I have started doing, like I have already started engaging in the social media to tell them my intentions. I have also started telling my people how we come together, engage the people there to see that our own agendas that they did not allow us to run, they will start pushing for it. And what I have started doing as strategizing to do already is to see how I can partner with other of my NGO people to see how we can do a larger bulk of sensitization, voters education. And one of the tasks ahead is that I want to work more with the women.
But yes, sir, the best thing that happened to me now is I don't need to wait for 2023. November 2nd, we're going to be bringing in an election is going to happen again. And by June, July, campaign has started. And Alfreda has already paced, have shown a capacity. So for now, for me, I'm already selling products.
For us at Yiaga Africa, we have a goal to ensure that in all our engagements, we keep promoting youth political inclusion, but beyond that, looking at the whole idea of inclusion to ensure that the special groups, women, young people, persons with disability, that when it comes to political participation, that there is an enabling environment for them to run and to contest for office, because the whole concept of democracy is incomplete if there is no representation of the different segments or sectors of the society. And that includes sex, that includes gender, that includes ensuring that each time we talk of government, we're not looking at it as a male-dominated affair, but a sector or a space that is represented by both men and women, which is a true reflection of the society, because you can't talk about the society without talking about women. You can't talk about nation building without talking about women. You can't talk about a nation itself without talking about women.